to Deeply Disturbing Things,
the podcast.
I'm Macy.
And I am Naomi.
And you don't have your headphones on.
Damn it.
And we're two anxious counselors who like to talk about deeply disturbing things.
Join us. Now I am headphoned up.
Headphoned up. We got some sake.
Some pie.
Pie.
Yum, yum. I stopped by Asian
this
World.
Some, like,
I was
say, this tastes like some good quality.
This is good quality.
Yummy.
Only the best for podcast night. I may skimp a little if it's just me, but not for podcast night.
It's true. And I look for something, the times that I bring something, it's kind of an agreement of sorts that we made that since I drive out here, Naomi provides the beverage.
It's like gas money in your tummy.
Yeah, and it's totally pays off every time. It's never not equaled out. Even on the bad traffic days. That's usually when it kicks in the most.
That is true.
Man. Okay. Can I share something disappointing?
Oh, okay.
Just a little.
Okay.
So it's personally disappointing. So on my pinky,
yeah,
there's this like callus that has built on my pinky.
Yeah.
Where like the skin feels tougher than normal. And I've been pondering and like really confused, like what is causing this friction? Okay. I found out that I grab my phone. Look what I do. I sit my phone
I do the same thing.
On my pinky, but it's right where the battery thing is. So I have a weird, feel it now that you know it's nothing gross. Feel this indent. I have like a legit indent in my pinky finger from setting my phone on it and looking at it.
I get it.
Horrified that it's impacting my body.
I rest mine on my pinky too.
Yeah. I wonder if everybody does. Does everybody rest their phone on their pinky?
Everybody feel your pinky and see if you have a little
indent in between in like your middle knuckle. Oh, you do too.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I discovered something.
Write a research paper.
I'm really upset about it because
this is actually real. Unlike that one lady's bogus quote unquote research that she put out that said that because we're looking down at our phones, teens are going to develop a spike in the back of their skull.
A spike?
Yeah, everybody like...
I didn't hear this.
You know how news media, they don't like look into things, but everybody like reblasted that and it wasn't actually like based on anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah,
this is real. Look,
and this
two out of two.
And I did not even talk to you about this ahead of time. You did not put that indent in your finger.
No.
I'm just horrified that this is something, because it's not on my left hand. It's on my right hand. You can see the indentation.
Yeah.
Crazy. So check your pinkies.
Pinkies are shelves.
Pinky shelves. Who knew? I always thought it was going to be my chest with like a beer can.
Oh, like that wouldn't work for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
It's okay.
Show a disparity.
I would rather have, a slide than a shelf.
That's fine. It gets in the way.
Their own.
Sometimes you need a slide.
That's right. Who goes first? I've lost track. We haven't done topics for so long.
I know. I'm going to say you because I think mine will be better after I drink more.
Okay.
I like going second more now, even though sometimes it makes me feel better during the moment. I can't see the big blues in the way.
Okay, my topic is going to have a plot twist at some point.
Okay, isn't that kind of ruining it by saying there's a plot twist at some point?
Definitely.
Okay, good. Just checking.
I am going to talk about psychopaths.
Woo! I love this.
Specifically, I'm going to start out talking about a new model of psychopathy called the Tri-archic Model.
Ooh, I have not heard.
So just to get everybody on the same page here, psychopathy is a personality disorder that's associated with being callous, being manipulative, being charming, but like it's superficial.
Very self-serving.
Egocentric, being impulsive, taking risks, and just in general, being antisocial. Some people like to differentiate psychopathy from sociopathy. I don't really get into that, but I'll just share what some people think the difference is. Some people say being a psychopath is that it's hereditary. antisocial qualities. And then being a sociopath means that it's something that happened to you, like you had an abusive childhood or you had a TBI, traumatic brain injury.
Which I have seen a lot of information about the like spectrum within that antisocial realm, that like there's many functioning people. Those traits are still the same, but they have a lot of self-awareness about them.
Into that.
Great. I'll stop talking.
Good foreshadowing. I mean, just knowing how you cannot separate nature and nurture.
Yeah.
How interwoven it is. I'm hesitant to differentiate those two.
Yeah, I definitely think there's probably both.
So I'm just going to use the term psychopath, and it's just going to refer to
all of the above.
So there are lots of models and measures that have been developed to capture psychopathic personality traits. Probably a super well-known one out there is Hare's Psychopathy Checklist, which we've all self-administered at night on our laptops.
Or our phones that are rested on your pinky.
And I definitely qualified back when I was a teenager. So
haven't we talked about this a little bit?
Yeah.
About how you're definitely and how I wanted to be but wasn't?
No, I 100% was. The Tri-archic Model of Psychopathy is this new model. So it identifies 3 primary domains of being a psychopath.
Okay.
Boldness, meanness, and disinhibition.
I like this because one of my biggest issues with personality disorders in general is that, according to the DSM-5 at least, there is no severity rating.
Boo, DSM-5.
So like you could have someone where like, yeah, sure, they could qualify, but I'm full. I'm good. Thanks. Where they could qualify for a personality disorder, but it doesn't like negatively impact their life or social situations in any way. But others it does, but there's no way to like track that. It's like categorical check marks versus dimensional.
Another reason the DSM-5 sucks. Sucks. DSM-5.
We need dimensions of severity based on many life factors
than the DSM-5 offers.
Please.
This new model was formulated to reconcile contrasting conceptions of psychopathy that are found in historical writings and different contemporary assessment measures, and also to try to resolve issues in the field that continue to persist.
I'm teaching a psychopathology class right now, and this topic, it makes a lot of the like new counselors, they get really excited around this topic because I think it's so sensationalized as well in media. Yeah.
And, it's interesting to me as a recovering psychopath.
I wish I knew.
This is part of my journey.
This is Yellow Jackets all over again. I wish I knew you back then, because then I would have been Shauna. Was that right?
You were Shauna.
Shauna.
I was Nat.
Yes. Have you seen Good Girls?
No. Should I? Is it a recommend?
You should. I would. Okay. Yes. I've also been related to Beth in that as well, which is very much a Shauna, but more like a mob boss for housewives.
Do you want to
take it?
No, see proof of that I have weird circulation.
Ew.
That I've always had my whole life. It doesn't always happen.
I don't know why I want to say you, but I feel grossed out. Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Feel the difference in my
I knew I was going to have to touch something.
Look, you can see the difference.
This one's all purple.
It's hot. It's just a hot hand.
I don't like it.
Now feel this one.
Ew.
Cold hand. I've had that my whole life.
It's all gross.
Isn't that so weird?
Wait, why? Hold on. Ew.
I know.
Why?
It's circulation.
That's like 100% different.
I know. I've always had it. It doesn't always happen, but
that's like when you leave your hand holding something for too long, and this one's like you've been sitting on it for an hour.
I know, but I've been just sitting here in front of you. I've done nothing different.
Wow.
I know. It's weird.
Are my hands different? No.
No, yours are both pasty. Equally pasty.
That's how you find me on the Instas.
So let's dive in a little bit to those 3 distinct yet intersecting constructs. And again, disinhibition, boldness, and meanness. So disinhibition has to do with being impulsive, having weak restraint, being hostile and mistrustful, and having difficulties in regulating emotion. And meanness has to do with having insufficient empathy or lack of entirely empathy, having an inability to form social bonds or not even wanting to form social bonds, like just lacking that capacity, having contempt towards others, and being exploitative in a predatory way, and finding power, being empowered through being cruel or destructive.
And from what I know of people who function, they often have to like remove themselves out of social situations to reduce the risk of them preying on somebody or taking advantage of someone's weaknesses, and have to very intentionally figure out why it wouldn't benefit them. Like everything benefits them for what they act on.
It's always a reason.
Yeah.
The third one is the boldness. And this means like you have confidence, socially assertive, emotional resiliency, and I love this word, venturesomeness.
Ooh, venturesomeness.
I like
That's a lot of syllables.
Venturesomeness.
I mean, that's kind of like almost like the dangerousness, like all those other things only work if they're bold enough to be in a venturousness.
Venturesomeness. Yeah, I feel like I have that.
Venture.
I have drive, ambition,
See,
all that.
I'm missing that.
I'll sell you some of mine.
I would just
sometimes
rather
mine's
not.
overactive.
That's okay. I don't know what to do with somebody else's.
So this triarchic model, this new model, combines from one conception, it's derived from psychiatric inpatients. So from that conception of psychopathy, it emphasized boldness accompanied by disinhibition.
Okay.
So think about that setting, a psychiatric inpatient. So boldness and disinhibition combining, so you can kind of see how that would play out more in that setting, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
For those people to kind of end up on that path. And that theory really comes from somebody who's a pioneer in the field of psychopathy called Hervey Milton Kleckler. And he wrote a book called The Mask of Sanity that was originally published in 1941, and it provided the most influential clinical description of psychopathy in the 20th century, and it's still highly referenced today. So that's one of the perspectives that are used in the triarchic model. The other is used on conceptions based on criminal offender populations. So the first was looking at psychiatric inpatients. This is criminal offenders. And this emphasizes tendencies towards meanness and disinhibition. So you can kind of see like maybe different motivations.
Yeah.
With that. So you still have that disinhibition, like you're going to still do things, act on urges, but it's kind of like a mean spin to it.
Which
versus the other one, which is just bold. And
well, and that one, it almost strikes me like the label is obviously put by someone who doesn't have antisocial personality, because it's mean to us.
Right.
To them, it's not like there's not an emotion tied to it.
It's associating an intent that might not be there.
Yeah, it's more like, is this person willing to cross line A or line C way over here that's now violating someone's rights, which to them like doesn't have an emotion attached, but we feel it does.
Exactly.
I've fucking loved that.
Yes, because I did a lot of shit that people thought was mean, but I wasn't like trying to be mean.
Yeah,
I was just doing my thing.
Yeah, it's a means to an end and whatever it takes to get there. So they may not even view that as a scale. It's just, do you have what I need and what does it take to do that? And is it worth it enough for me to get there?
Bingo.
Bingo was his name-o.
Bingo fucking lootly. So with this triarchic model that's blending these things, individuals that are high in disinhibition would...
So inability to like hold back on those things.
Would get the diagnosis of psychopathy if they're also high in either boldness and or meanness. So it can be one or the other.
Okay.
Which would give that like
see that.
more detached, kind of indifferent, predatory, callous expression. But they wouldn't get the diagnosis if they're only bold or mean. You have to have the disinhibition.
Yeah. Okay.
Like that's a key element with this model.
Well, which to me is why these studies were done from a hospital and wow, I hope everyone
so
heard
uncouth.
That.
Macy overfilled my glass.
Sorry, let me get my thought back. So why this had to do with hospitals and criminal settings is that they had to have been basically someone who has a functioning level of psychopathy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't show up to outpatient mental health to work on themselves. Like that's not how that works. They don't see a problem with it. So they wouldn't just show up unless there was some problem occurring in their life, or basically if someone in their life forced them to, maybe I could see that scenario. Otherwise, it's so severe that they're either being criminally charged with something or they're being hospitalized.
One or the other. So if you're just bold or mean, sorry, you're not a psychopath.
Nope.
You got to also be disinhibited.
You just get to live your life and figure it out and have some consequences.
So due to time, I'm not going to get into this in any sort of detail, but there are strong links between the Triarchic Model and neurobiology, which, you know, I love neuroscience. That's my secret parallel universe career. But on one interesting note in this area, these findings, together with looking at work at the callous, unemotional variant of child conduct disorder, so being callous and like unfeeling, they find, you know, that that's hereditary. And so that really points to callous unemotionality or meanness in this scale as being biologically based. So you're just born mean.
Yeah, I'm born, because I think there's a difference between someone who's mean in an emotional way, like anger, like someone who's domestic violence, for example, in this aspect.
And just mean.
Versus manipulative, see how far I can get, which is mean, but it's different than an I'm so angry mean, perhaps.
So this meanness would show up as predatory behaviors when trying to like meet needs without being concerned for others. So it's that lack of concern for others. Just I'm doing me, treat myself. So that is shown to be biologically based.
Yeah. Okay.
So parents, if you have that kind of kid, it's not your fault.
Not your fault. No shame game.
An interesting point, this you kind of were touching on this a minute ago, that has been debated is whether antisocial or criminal behavior, so this is outcomes, should be considered as defining features of psychopathy, or should just be considered a consequence or expression of psychopathy.
I mean, I kind of view like conduct disorder in kids, like there's some sort of legal something, laws, some violation of moral codes.
Should that be a criteria?
I would say it's something like a personality disorder.
Because what if you're never caught? Then you wouldn't have the diagnosis.
Well, but that's, again, what's the point of a diagnosis? Treatment.
Well, it should be etiology and treatment, but
exactly. But so to me, a diagnosis doesn't mean anything unless they're seeking treatment or
so
if they go to jail.
Okay. So going off of that,
okay.
If your treatment objective is not getting in trouble, so what are we teaching you? Be smarter criminal. don't get caught.
Well, but if it's something that's hereditary, though, then
which was me,
then they have to learn more, which is teaching them to be even more manipulative, how to use the way they think in a way that won't get them in trouble.
Yeah, even more manipulative.
Yes.
So
there's no way around it.
I'm on the side of I don't think it should be a diagnostic criteria. I think it should be considered a consequence or expression of psychopathy. Because there's people out there that have done some terrible shit and have never been caught. Does that mean they don't get the diagnosis?
I don't think so. Because the thing is so even like with conduct disorder, it doesn't mean that they have to have been charged.
But they're in trouble.
But if they're doing like if they come into counseling and they're doing that level of stuff and you're finding it out and they would be charged, would you say they don't have conduct disorder?
Well, maybe I would have gotten some help if I would have been a stupider criminal, but I got away with almost everything I did. The only times I got arrested were for being a runaway, not for actually committing any crimes, which I committed a lot.
I just don't think they're
statute of limitations has run out, suckers.
And they're not going to. I honestly don't see the point at that because if they don't come in willingly, voluntarily at an outpatient level overall, then it's not very preventative or treatment focused. It's all, like you said, like if it's inpatient and it's harm reduction.
I have more bottles, so don't feel like you have to hold back.
I have been sipping.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just want to tell you.
Thanks.
Get you a word.
I was.
Don't be worried.
I've been watching the meter.
You think I just get us this little teeny...
I was counting. I was like,
6 ounce bottle.
This is my third. She just poured her fifth.
Hey, no tally boards with the drinking. I can't help it.
It's only because I thought I was getting less.
There's more in the fridge.
It's not judging you at all.
And I got other nice kinds too. So we'll be like, it's like a sampler.
Watch it.
Sake sampler. There you go. Come pie.
I can't chuggle.
Chuggle?
Yeah. Whatever I was saying, it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is another thing you touched on. The successful psychopath. And successful is quote unquote.
I don't like the term touched on.
Okay, well, you mentioned it.
Okay, well, you also mentioned your hands being different. And I've been waiting this whole time for that to be relevant to something. I thought that was like
No, I just noticed and I thought I would share.
Oh, because of my pinky notice.
No, I just noticed.
Oh.
And thought I would share.
Just now noticed.
Well, when I mentioned it, I noticed.
When you mentioned it.
And I thought I would share because it's interesting, I think.
I've just been waiting.
And see, it's gone now.
I've been waiting.
It doesn't last long. Now they're equally hot.
Oh.
Yeah, it's only like
weird.
On occasion it happens.
Is it like hives in your hand?
No, I mean, I've had it since I was like my whole life. It's so weird.
Is it because you're nervous?
I don't know.
Because now you're not nervous because you've had 5.
No, I don't think it's nerves. It's not nerves. And it doesn't happen very often at all. Maybe like a couple times a year.
What? But it just happened.
I know. Oh. You're lucky. You're here. You got to experience it.
Is that like a good luck thing?
You got to experience the hot, cold hands of Naomi. A rare event. It's like a blood moon or some shit.
I don't know what that is.
Okay. The successful psychopath. Okay. Sorry, I shouted.
That was very loud.
So this is considered the person that has successfully expressed their psychopathy, which basically means they're not in prison or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, to me, that's like, I don't know, like there's so many variations in thinking, like they've made it work, whatever that means. They made it function.
So psychopathy is a risk factor for violent behavior. That's been research proven. Mm-hmm. But many psychopathic individuals refrain from antisocial and criminal acts. Mm-hmm. And the reason for this has been tested, and it's called the model of a successful psychopath.
Okay.
So this model posits that these individuals are able to develop greater conscientious traits that serve to inhibit their heightened antisocial impulses. So it was a pretty good research study, 7-year longitudinal study.
That's pretty good, yeah.
On 1,354 educated adolescents.
Size?
Yeah, good sample. And so this the study really supported the theory that psychopathic individuals who develop greater self-regulatory control over their impulses become more successful than the others.
Okay. Yeah, that's around about what I've seen too.
So despite popular perception, most psychopaths aren't cold-blooded or psychotic killers.
Right.
Most of them live successfully among us. They walk among us. They use their traits to get what they want in life, perhaps at the expense of others.
Mm-hmm.
So not all psychopaths become serial killers, and not all serial killers are psychopaths.
Yes.
But the FBI has noted certain traits shared between known serial killers and antisocial personality disorders. So to review, these include predatory behavior, lack of remorse. So you might expect them to be guilty, but they're not. If they're crying, they're feeling sorry for themselves, not for what they did.
Well, and even that, they may be marking up the person and trying to figure out what reactions are expected and giving the reactions like posed based on each person. Because again, like they don't just put themselves in a new situation, like show up at a party with all these new people and react normally. That's not what happens. Like it's all calculated. They learn about people and gauge how they respond to what that person thinks they should respond like.
So another trait of known serial killers that had antisocial personality disorders was the need for power and control over others. Mm-hmm. So predatory behavior, lack of remorse, impulsivity, and the need for power control.
One interview I saw, the man said that he, like when asked, did you feel like an odd one out when you were a kid growing up and everyone else is emotional or reacting to things, and he thought he was normal and that everyone else was really odd. It was kind of like looking in on other people's behavior, but feeling like, well, but it's that kind of ego trait, right? Like what I'm experiencing is right, even though the rest are different.
Yeah, I didn't feel that, but I remember that brought up a memory, like the last night of like summer camp, everybody would be crying. Mm-hmm. And I like literally felt like no desire to cry. Like, I mean, I was like, oh, I'll miss you. Mm-hmm. Like I had that level, but like no sad, no.
That's why everyone in Derby is always scared of you and says like,
but I remember wanting to cry to fit in. Like I was just like upset by it kind of. I'm like, can I like fake cry somewhere? Yeah. Is there like some drops I can put in my eye? Mm-hmm. Like poke myself in the eye or something. Like I wanted to do it to fit in because I felt different and I didn't like that.
Well, and just to show how much the brain is involved here, that same person also he developed a bipolar diagnosis, and all of a sudden he had big highs, big lows out of nowhere. And he said like it was so startling because he had been used to feeling no emotion up to that point. Yeah. And then all of a sudden these huge emotional swings in the in-between, and until he got medicated, like he was going to be hospitalized. It got so bad. And then once he was medicated, it was back to his normal self.
Got it.
The brain, it's a fascinating organ.
Okay. A few famous psychopaths suspected, allegedly psychopaths from modern history. Your former topic, Albert Fish.
I was about to say that, yeah.
With the monkey and peewees.
Yeah. Was it monkeys and peewees? Is that
I don't know. Peewees was in there. I don't know.
Gosh, we've done too many.
We've done too many. Charles Manson.
We talked about someone. We talked about like Gacy, I think.
Yeah.
Someone else.
I mean, all those folks. Dahmer.
Yeah.
They're all suspected psychopaths. A modern one, Elizabeth Holmes.
Oh.
So, was just convicted of criminal fraud recently.
I don't remember what her face looks like. What was she
like
in?
Blonde. I mean, this is really recent. She
I'm so bad. I don't know.
Like lied about having this technology that could like diagnose everything with a single drop of blood and got all these billionaires to like invest, and she was like a billionaire.
Thanks. We know it's not true.
So she just got convicted of criminal fraud.
Girls, the DSM wouldn't exist.
Look up her face. Elizabeth Holmes.
All right.
You need a face with the story.
I'm yelling at. Don't look. Don't look.
I'm not looking.
Okay. You didn't see anything, did you?
No, I didn't.
Your reaction time's down because you're on your 7th sake.
But I have 2 hot hands now, so my reaction time is actually up.
Oh, that's frightening. Okay, I thought this would help. I still have no idea who she is. Great.
Okay, but you see, like, you know, social.
Yeah, I see. She looks pretty blonde and tall and skinny. Great.
So I think that's what you need to get people to invest in your fraudulent company.
Or invest in anything of yours. It's just be blonde, good looking. That's how it goes. Sorry.
So we're both the 2 brunettes.
Says the 2.
We're not bitter though. Here's a couple, 2, 3, 4 fictional suspected psychopaths. King Joffrey.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
I can see that.
The governor from The Walking Dead.
Although he is, okay, what?
Governor from The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah. Okay. I see more governor than I see Joffrey. Joffrey's like a little, I don't know, maybe
what is he?
Intermittent explosive disorder. I don't know. Like he has too much emotion under everything he does. And he doesn't plan.
It's very emotional.
He doesn't plan through very well either. He'd be a very bad.
So
example.
he's high on that one of the 3 of the tri that has like the unregulated emotions.
Okay. I'll give him that.
Picture like a Venn diagram with the 3. He'd be like a lot of the 3.
A lot of the 3. Okay. I like the Venn diagram.
Me too.
Comment.
A good fictional psychopath.
Fictional. My brain went there.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yes. I definitely see that.
Yes. So just to review for our psychology friend listeners out there, here are the criteria for the DSM-5 diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder. You have to have disregard for and violation of others' rights since age 15. So there's going to be like a previous conduct disorder diagnosis.
Yeah. And again, that kind of leads to the idea that there is some genetics there, but it might take, more freedom for it to start expressing itself publicly.
So in addition to my laundry list of concerns with the DSM-5, you only have to have one of the 7 sub-features. Like,
that's not very many.
I think you need more.
Like,
to diagnose with fucking psychopathy?
But
Come
yeah,
on.
that's like my whole thing is like, that's a lot. So
that's a heavy diagnosis to hang on somebody off of one criteria.
And nobody wants that diagnosis. What does that mean? That everyone's going to assume you're a serial killer for the rest of your life?
Exactly.
Like, that
it's so
sucks.
stigmatizing.
I have a big thing against personality disorders in general. I would just like to say it's a bad label, the word personality.
So you only have to have one of these. Failure to obey laws and norms, I hate that word, by engaging in behavior which results in criminal arrest or warrant criminal arrest.
Wait, can you back it up to number 1? And I'm going to go off
of what number
I know
1.
Okay, check. I'm going off of you. Go.
Well, I'm just saying.
I know. I'm saying
which results
you're already
in criminal arrest or would warrant.
That's it right there.
But
you're done.
The would warrant. I hate that. Okay. Lying, deception, and manipulation. Yes.
2.
But they say for profit or self-amusement, which I don't like self-amusement. What the fuck does that even mean?
No, and again, this
self-amusement? What is it, the Joker?
I really think that some
Does
context
this amuse you?
That's where Stella had it on tighter or looser than
me. Are you trying to say your head is not toddler sized?
Yeah. No, that it's smaller. So a lot of the language is written in a way that, like, if we were doing a diagnostic interview, you wouldn't agree to that.
No, self-amusement. No, exactly. That's not why I lied.
You're gonna get defensive and tell me why you lie. That's what's gonna happen.
I lied for survival, which right. I would say for a lot of people
is the case. Well, and especially if it's coming from trauma. So with that.
Exactly. Coming from trauma, it's survival.
This is supposed to be a diagnostic tool. how is this helping people diagnose when it's
not helpful.
It's gearing them to ask questions that are inappropriate and not effective.
Yeah, you're basically saying, are you the Joker?
Yeah, you're ruining rapport right off the bat by making them sound awful versus
it sounds petty.
Yeah, versus like, okay, I get that it may look really bad, but you had a purpose involved.
This does no justice to etiology whatsoever.
No, and like, let's just err on the side that like people are doing the best they fucking can. Are we out of the bottle already?
Yeah. Okay.
People are doing the best they can.
All right.
And the diagnosis categories, especially in personality disorders across the board, borderline personality, BPD, has a lot of trauma background. That's beautiful.
I don't even diagnose BPD. I only diagnose
trauma,
PTSD.
Do you know what really bothers me?
It's so stigmatizing.
Oh, but that's all. So complex trauma doesn't exist in the DSM-5,
I know, which is stupid.
But it exists in the ICD-10, a different diagnosing criteria. So it's really ridiculous. It totally is just on what your profession has adopted.
I only got his fancy sake, by the way.
That's great. Welcome. I'm going to not mix my sake, so I'm going to drink this.
Okay.
All right.
Number
I
3,
ranted a little bit. Go ahead.
Impulsive behavior. Okay. That could be ADHD. That could be anxiety. That could be a lot of things. So just you're impulsive, you're a psychopath.
So which is like ADHD. Check.
Yeah. I mean, I hate that. Irritability and aggression.
Ooh, this one burns your nose a little bit.
Manifested as frequently assaults others or engages in fighting.
Sure.
Blatantly disregards safety of self and others. Risk taking. Okay. I mean 100% there.
Yeah. I mean, I get that too.
I thought I was like a race car driver.
Psychosis sometimes could lead to that as well.
A pattern of irresponsibility.
Or dissociation. What?
Like a pattern of irresponsibility. That could be like any of us at any time.
Well, that's how I feel about the whole not premenstrual, but the menstrual disorder.
Do not get me started.
A different topic for a different
With
day.
The illusion of bloating.
Fuck right off. All right. I've read that list and
I'm not an illusion when I can't button my pants.
Well, and there's like research that shows that like cramp pain can be as severe as heart attack pain. And yet it's like, you should go to work and power through that. And like tampon ads are like, you can go and ride a horse. I want to ride a horse.
Well, I'm blood flooding from my vagina.
No, I'm having a heart attack in my crotch. Can somebody please have sympathy for me?
Yeah, no. I mean, once again, if other people around the world, it would be different. And the last one, number 7, lack of remorse for actions. Bingo.
Okay,
so
that one's a good one.
I mean, when I was a teenager, I would have had conduct disorder, not this, because you have to be 18,
Mm-hmm.
but still.
Conduct disorder tends to lead to this eventually.
3, 4. So 4 solid ones.
Okay, and let me, as an adolescent, I would have had none of those.
Wow. Okay, stop looking.
I'm looking at your face. Look at me, look at you. Look at me, look at you. That's what I'm doing. Okay.
Some research. So the common perception out there or understanding out there is that psychopaths antisocial behavior, like it's incurable. I 100% disagree. I'm living proof. But research now is also suggesting that psychopaths do have degrees of empathy, but there's an innate ability to switch it off or on at will. And that's what I experienced personally. Mm-hmm. Like it was a combination of intention and shocking circumstances that turned mine on. Okay.
Is it kind of like the level of disinhibition part? Like you would have more ability to
control your impulses. Okay. Yeah. So Christian Kiesers, who wrote The Empathic Brain, which I read, has done some really exciting early research to show empathy in psychopaths can actually be rehabilitated.
I agree with that. Is this the twist? You pulled out paper, so I feel like
that was all well and good.
Well and good until you took the freaking test.
No.
No?
No.
No. So
this model.
paper.
This model, the Triarchic Model of Psychopathy, has been adapted for use with cats.
I think I know what the plot twist was. Cats. A
new study from researchers at the University of Liverpool and Liverpool John Moores University, published in the Journal of Research and Personality, they explored how the Triarchic Model of Psychopathy could be adapted for felines.
100%. I'm surrounded by cats and I'm excited for this. Let's go.
They recruited 2,042 participants.
Good sample size.
Good.
We can generalize this out to the population.
Yes, to assess their cat's behavior across a number of categories.
Categories.
The resulting questionnaire also assesses, just like the human measure, levels of boldness, disinhibition, and meanness.
Little bastard.
So I copied you your own copy. You could take it home and on your own time do your own cats.
I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I plan to do mine for Kiwi, who I've always said was a psychopath.
I'm doing mine for Sabrina. Sabrina's definitely more of a psychopath.
Here's the problem with this measure. This measure is designed for outdoor cats. And Kiwi's
indoor
only,
and outdoor.
Yeah,
Sabrina's
Kiwi's
sometimes.
only indoor. So I started it and I'm like, oh, this is not going to be valid.
Okay.
But I did want to point out a couple of
Do I have a pen?
The interesting items.
I really want to do this. Is there a marker?
So my cat sits in high places. That's one. So the top of the sofa, the top of the stairs. Yes, Kiwi does that 100%. She likes to look down on you.
And I'm sorry, but your cat absolutely 100% is. I don't even need this piece of paper.
No, you keep that for your cat.
No, I will, but still.
My cat torments their prey rather than killing it straight away. See, with an indoor cat, you can't really.
I am my cat's prey, and I get tortured every morning between 3 to 5 a.m.
My cat demands attention, so taps people with their paw to play. Kiwi does not do that. Kiwi does not want my attention at all.
Sabrina
she would never
doesn't
come
want
up.
my attention either, unless it's in the morning.
Oh wait, Kiwi does manipulatively. If Asher's not here, Kiwi suddenly is circling around my ankle.
I've had times where all of a sudden she was really nice to me.
All of a sudden she was here, like what? Yeah, it's
and then
so
and
manipulative.
Then I went to pet her, and then she tried to bite me.
It's that manipulative predatory behavior. It's resource seeking. Damn it. My cat walks or sits on items that I'm trying to use, like your laptop or books.
Like a little asshole.
Kiwi does not do that because she doesn't come near me really.
Do you know, so Sabrina, she jumped up on top of this bookcase trying to get to my gecko tank, who he recently lost his tail because of one of the cats.
Oh,
I know. So I pick her up and I say, no, she wasn't the one that did that, by the way, but I chased her away. She comes back and she has this look of like, all right, fuck you. And she comes in and jumps up there again. And when I'm like, get down, she looks at me, looks at the spot she has to jump to, and just launches for it. Psychopath.
See?
Go ahead.
My cat is easily distracted, stares at or meows at what appears to be nothing. Cats be weird. I hate it when they just are looking in the corner and I can't see what they're looking at. Like, what do they see that I don't see?
Swiggy just meows at the door constantly until you let him out. He knows that he will drive you nuts.
Psychopath.
PsychoCat.
My cat disobeys the house rules, walking on worktops, tables, climbs on curtains, runs away when called.
Tries to jump in the fish tank. Absolutely.
Yeah, cats listen or don't listen. My cat hides and jumps out at people or pets from behind doors, counters, or worktops. So one thing that Kiwi does, which I think is her meanest feature, look, I'm assigning intent to it, is I'll just be walking through a room, like just walking through a straight path, and she will be hiding under something and reach her claw out really quickly and scratch the shit out of my ankle. I hate that. Like, I've done nothing to her.
And I have to say, I don't think mine fall under the meanness at all, actually. They don't do things like that. They do more the attention seeking of like, I'm going to lay next to you at 3 a.m, put your paw in the face, and then put the claws out and drive.
Well, remember, you need disinhibition and either meanness or boldness.
Okay.
Meanness alone does not do it.
Boldness, probably.
My cat does not appear to act guilty after misbehaving. Kiwi does not give a F.
Yeah, Sabrina. Don't
I'm like, ow, and I'm bleeding. She doesn't care.
No.
Her cold, dead eyes remain the same through the entire thing.
Swiggy feels shame. I know that.
My cat displaces another pet cat from favorable positions. Yes, Kiwi does that. So we have the urban cat climber wall in the living room, and there's 3 beds in it for each cat. Lane used to have the top cat spot. Now it's Kiwi's spot.
Wow.
She displaced Lane.
I know that when I go on trips, Sabrina intentionally ignores me for like 3 days. She doesn't like, if I come upstairs, she goes downstairs. And it's like 3 days before she's like, fine, you can touch me and be around me again.
Attachment disorder.
Right.
And my cat doesn't like to be petted. Kiwi, 100%.
Mine does.
I can get 3 pets in, and I have to do them really quick. I can count too. 1, 2, 3, and then I have to reach
that's
away.
That's like the meanness again.
Because then,
like,
or
really?
she'll latch
Why?
on
Why?
teeth and claws on my hand, and I will be bleeding. Look at this scar. This is from a cat.
That's a big scar.
No, this was like, I thought I might need to go to the hospital.
This
was
bad.
not even from Kiwi. This was from another cat. So,
I mean, I would say it's probably fair to say that most cats are psychopaths. It's only the like small percentage that aren't.
And the last one I wanted to point out, my cat purrs when attacking people or animals. So that means they're getting pleasure from pain. So this is like a legitimate measure. It has how to score it and everything
for each cat when I get home.
Yeah. So report back on your cat triarchic psychopathy catastrophe score. So that was my topic. Psychopaths. Cool. Cat psychopaths.
I mean, I don't know how our topics relate. I'll let you.
Okay. I always like to try to find a connection.
Okay. Now you can't look at my.
Okay, I'll scoot over here.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, okay. Didn't like me doing that. Okay. So I'm gonna guess what?
What?
Guess.
How am I supposed to guess?
I don't know.
It's so vast.
It is so vast. I'm going to talk about the deeply disturbing world of facial hair.
Oh,
right? It's like it's so obviously there, but
it is,
but not talked about. So let's talk about it.
I want to talk about it
because
this is
did I learn a lot.
No, this is actually there's a connection to my trip to Portland.
Tell me.
Should I save it?
No, tell me now.
Now. So by happen chance, when
isn't it happenstance?
But I like happen chance better.
Happens.
It is.
Am I wrong?
Oh, no, you're right, and I'm right. We're both right.
That's a psychopath. No, you're right, but I'm also right. By my made-up word.
Hey, I'm in recovery.
Here's me, like, oh wait, am I wrong? Just opening the door for you. We're both right. Okay. All right.
Admit nothing. Okay. So while we're in Portland, we're doing all the things, and went to the Portland Art Museum.
Yes.
And I was super excited because it happened that it happened there. It happened there that there was a Frida Kahlo exhibit going on, and I'd never seen a full exhibit. And something that was very like notable and intentional is all of Frida Kahlo's like self-portraits really accentuated her facial hair.
Okay.
Like the mustache and the unibrow were very like prominent and accentuated, which I believe, this is just a guess, was just to like celebrate cultural pride, and pride in who she was. Because there's photos also of her, and like it wasn't as prominent as in all her self-portraits. So it was like a sense of pride. Like, I'm going to point this out. Yeah, I have a mustache. What of it? It's fine.
And we'll talk about some of these things.
Great. I'm ready.
Not specifically that.
Not specifically Frida.
Not specifically
Frida.
That.
Not Frida. Frida Kahlo. I was trying to teach it to Stella, and she said Frida avocado.
That's close. That's pretty close. That's pretty there. Okay, so there's really only two types of facial hair. Beards and mustache. That's like the most identified, or a combination of both.
The brow is not considered?
No.
Or what about a sideburn?
We'll get to sideburn.
Okay.
We'll get to sideburn. Technically, yes. But these are what have been like culturally identified as facial hair. Okay. Think about it as like a taxonomy of human traits, like we made up to try to make sense of facial hair families. And really the beards and mustaches are like the genus. Like, and their many varieties are the species.
I think people are unsure on how to agree on what is a beard versus a mustache.
Yeah. Yes.
Versus what is a combo.
To me, that is just non-educated about facial hair from now what I've learned.
I think
because they all have names.
What's the difference between a skirt and dress?
They all have categories and names.
Are we going to discuss the goatee?
We're going to talk about a lot of things here. So, okay. Here we go. I mean, why talk about this? Why not is kind of my point. So in 2015, there was a big push and growing trend about beardedness, and the National Beard, and yes, this is true, National Beard and Mustache Championship that took place that year in Brooklyn.
No, beards are big.
Beards are big. I mean,
we have our own club in Spokane.
Mm-hmm. So this was in
products, everything.
There was the year prior in 2014, and the New York Post ran a story about men in Brooklyn paying as much as $8,500 for facial hair transplants in order to grow better beards. So like
where do they transplant it from? Their pubes?
I mean, that's probably. I mean, what makes that texture? Okay, sorry. I'm just guessing. Okay.
Probably limited length there, though. I think. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe not. Facial hair grew more popular over the last decade. It really became the most full-blown phenomenon of 21st century maleness.
It's like that whole lumberjack hipster look.
Maleness, whatever. It even had a little kind of cameo at the beginning of COVID when media outlets stumbled on some infographic from the CDC saying about how the mask fits over the beard. Do you remember that like being a thing?
No.
Where they talked about like which facial hairstyles were okay for a standard respirator. So this was a thing and was spread all over facial media.
Facial media.
I'm going to show you the picture. This is what it was actually shared by the CDC. It has like a ton of different facial hairstyles that are okay to wear the masks with.
Well, we did, fit testing for N95s at work, and the fit tester said if you have a beard, it's just not going to fit on your face. So
and
just deal with it.
What I'd have to say
you're breathing the COVID.
Have you looked at the 36 distinct styles and compared with CDC's beard matching system? Because if not, then maybe you don't know enough.
Well, these were people that had like the big.
Yeah, that's not on there.
Where it was like bushing out around the mask.
It's not the soul patch or the goatee or the Fu Manchu, the English or the handlebar.
My uncle had like a badass Fu Manchu.
Yeah.
But interestingly and confusingly, only on one side.
Interesting. That is interesting.
And confusing. So there's 14 months. I don't know if that was a mishap. I mean,
like shaved it off.
I wasn't like an accident. I wasn't going to ask. He was older,
Genetics,
respect
maybe?
your elders.
Yeah. Just don't say it, Naomi. Someone told you once. There's 14 mustaches on this list from the CDC, 12 beards, 9 beard mustache hybrids, and a clean shaven option. This chart also revealed something that they hadn't thought of before, which is that facial hair doesn't seem very functional. So let's talk about this. Why do we even have facial hair? And we'll talk men specifically or those who are on hormone therapy even. Okay, so
I know why. One of the common.
What is one of the common? And I'll tell you.
To cover a weak chin. To hide a weak chin.
True. Or to hide the non-chin.
That's a weak chin.
You mean the neck fat?
Oh no, that's extra chin.
Yeah, hide the extra chin or a weak chin. Yes.
Yeah.
You either have not enough or too many.
Or I've heard hide like acne scars also. Which are valid. It's valid.
Scientists actually aren't sure, which is kind of surprising that we haven't like pinpointed this. So their evolutionary guess, if you want to, step back to see the forest for the trees.
Oh yeah, I mean,
whiskers.
You're not going to get one till after puberty, so that would be a sign of like virility.
Okay, so facial hair is not functional per research in the way that it thought. Many thought it was to keep your face warm in cool climates, which would mean it's an evolutionary thing in that regard. But then you forget about all the women who don't have it. So that doesn't make sense.
Well, and like cultures like in Mongolia where they're living outside in the cold and they don't often have like these
and from what we know,
beards.
like the hair does that enough. From what research shows, like the facial hair doesn't like add anything to that. So
aren't they soup catchers?
Yes,
you can like have a snack. That's useful.
Why this is fun to do second, because I get all the commentary. So it's not very functional. It's more ornamental, and all the physical features on the human body, including other kinds of hair, facial hair is the only one that is purely ornamental. So everything else has a function.
It's like a peacock.
A peacock? That it doesn't perform a function of any kind. Okay, so that being said, here's the other function, like pure functions at least. Other body hair regulates thermoregulation, it monitors thermoregulation in our body. Head hair protects your scalp from the sun and also traps in heat in cold weather. Eyelashes are like the screen doors for the eyes, keeping bugs and dust and debris out of your eyeballs. Eyebrows have a purpose. They impede sweat from getting into the eyes. That is their actual biological function.
Wow.
Crazy. I just learned that. Armpit hair, technically called axillary hair.
Axillary.
Collects and disseminates pheromones while acting like a WD-40 of body hair, reducing friction between the skin as we walk.
Sweet.
Right? And then pubic hair, don't think I forgot, also helps reduce friction, as well as provides a layer of protection from bacteria and other pathogens. And then I'm like, okay, so like, what about the shaving craze of the crotch? Like that totally is a thing. Is that just friction everywhere now? People get friction burns?
I think you're just like getting rid of your like protective screen of curly hairs.
That's literally what it does.
Everything's going to get in.
It protects from bacteria.
Well, bushes are back, thank goodness.
Yes. Facial hair, nothing. Okay, so.
Except some people are very attracted.
We'll get there. You're right. You're absolutely right. And we're going to get there. Okay.
Not me. I like a little. A little's okay.
It depends, right?
But I don't want to like a long thing.
Okay.
If you can ponytail it, too long for me.
So we know this is an evolutionary thing because losing 50% of the female population wouldn't make sense. Like that we would die out if that were the case. So it's not that. It would be, if it was evolutionary, it'd be present across both sexes. So instead, thick, mature facial hair is present almost exclusively on the male half of the species, and its only job is to sit on the face of its wearer as a signal to everyone who crosses their path. So what signal does it send?
But that creates evolutionary power if they're reproducing more because it's an attractive thing. If they're attracting mates.
It's just not an evolution, like it doesn't serve it's a different type. Like, yes, it's helpful, but it's fluid. Like it's not something that's been like mirrored down to, and that's in across cultures and time. We'll talk about here too, about the different trends that go with it. It's much more of a fluid process of attraction than like, okay, evolution has pruned things in or out, if that makes sense. like losing your pinky toe over time is because you haven't used it enough. And that's going to happen across the species.
Well, I think certain cultures are more hairy than others.
But you'll see that it's not just about being hairy. Across time, how they handle the hair on their face is different. And we'll talk about it. Okay. So, it's going to get a little complicated. So, University of New Mexico professor Geoffrey Miller.
King Geoffrey.
He's one of the preeminent evolutionary psychologists in this field, said the two main explanations for male facial hair are the intersexual attraction, attracting females, and intrasexual competition, intimidating rival males. And basically that signal is to a potential partner. So it communicates, like you were saying, virility, sexual maturity, hubba bubba,
Hubba bubba.
It's also a gum, I think. So these things are taken into account and help put off potential rivals too.
It could be same-sex attraction. It can show. Also.
It can be, yeah.
I believe guys that are hairy in gay culture are called bears.
Bears. Yes. Thank you. And probably throughout this, that males and females will be mentioned most just because of the research using those titles. But I also agree that there's fluidity with it.
Rawr for the bears.
So the signal that facial hair sends also tends to be stronger and more reliable between males who are commonly rivals than it is between males and females who are commonly partners. So just research-wise, it's actually stronger between rivals than it is for attraction. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why they have those beard competitions.
Competitions. That's the whole reason. It's like, how do you explain a hot dog contest then? I don't know.
Nobody can.
In fact, evolutionary biologists would tell you that while some females really like facial hair and some don't, and some could care less, more often than not, attraction has to do more with beard density than anything else.
Yeah, nobody wants a scraggly beard.
Okay, but like, why?
Because
like, why does that matter? How do we decide that matters?
Because it's not a good beard.
Okay, but that's weird. That's really weird. It's like saying your eyebrows are not.
That's a social norm, though.
Agreed.
Like you can hear everybody say, like, my beard hasn't come in.
My beard hasn't come in.
I can't grow a full beard. I always have this hole right here.
Yes. So if you're in a place where there's a lot of beards, like a lumberjack convention, a clean shaven face is actually more appealing. But if you're surrounded by bare faces, then a beard is actually better.
Do you like a beard?
I feel like after reading like this research that I question now. Like if I feel like I need to be put into these situations. I need to go to a lumberjack contest and see someone with like a shaven face and see if I feel more attracted or not.
Well, I'm on Spokane Beard and Mustache.
So this is
Facebook
a new
group.
Revelation for me that you're on their Facebook group, and it makes my day.
Because when I was in roller derby, we did some events, so I know like the organizer.
Okay.
Yeah. We
should go to events sometime and then see how we feel about it.
There are many criteria.
Is it weird though that like whatever the majority is, the standout might be more sexually attractive?
Yeah, I don't. Not to me. I'm not into the beard, the long beard.
Oh, you're not into long beard. Gotcha. So
a little hair. Okay, here's the thing. I'm okay with like a bald face if they have the full hair on top. But if you're bald on top and bald on the face, that's too much skin.
Okay. So this is called, here's your science stuff for you.
Thank you.
In evolutionary genetics, it's called negative frequency dependence, which is science speak for the idea that when a trait is rare within a population, it actually tends to have an advantage.
So everybody's like, ooh, look at that one.
Right. So in guppies and fish, for example, males with a unique color combination and different spots mate more often and are preyed upon less. This is a huge competitive advantage. It's like going to Vegas expecting to lose $1,000 but hoping to break even. only to end up winning 1,000 instead. That's a $2,000 swing. It's the same thing for that trait. The trait goes from fighting for its life to being the life of the party.
Got it.
Okay. The downside is that the competitive advantage can result in overpopulation of others with the same trait very quickly. Because of all
everybody's like, I want to do that.
All the sexing it gets of very interesting looking guppies means what? Its rarity becomes common.
Right. It's just like trends.
Right.
Like, everyone wants to do that and everybody follows
but then
that
once
way.
Everybody does it, it's not cool anymore. So once you go to a beard competition, everyone has beards and you see the one guy without, guess what? You're attractive, yo.
Or weird. I think that it can swing either way.
Depending.
If it's too weird, then it's like,
if it's too,
get out.
Let's just throw out a Naomi caveat here that if it's too weird, you're out.
Yeah. Too weird, no bueno.
So it's a yo-yoing, really, of like between common and uncommon.
It has to be uncommon, but
back,
appealing. Yes. Not uncommon, weird.
But then that all depends on whatever the social norms at the time happen to be. So it also explains why the dominant theory of the evolution of facial hair began to resolve around intersexual competition, because it's not enough to simply be attractive. You also have to be more attractive than the people around you. It's not just being attractive.
So
which is kind of what you're saying. Like if you're weird, if you're so outlandish from everybody else, then it's not going to work. So sporting a killer stash or a bushy beard is only as effective evolutionarily as long as it still makes you part of the hot new guppy thing around the pond, right?
Did you ever watch the Tick cartoon, the original?
Yes.
Do you remember the episode, the mustachioed
I don't
feeling?
remember anything about that show other than the character.
It's one of my favorite.
Yeah?
Yeah, with the mustache. I'll put it on our Facebook
Mustachio. Okay,
yeah, that mustachioed feeling.
Wait till we post this so people know what it means. Unless you want to give a caption. Okay.
I'm just going to post it.
So I'm going to talk about like history now. So throughout history, people have had facial hair or shaved it as a response to choices of their enemies and their rivals. The ancient Romans were clean shaven for 400 years because the ancient Greeks, their rivals during the Hellenistic period, celebrated beards as symbols of elevated status.
But differentiate. Like if they're that way, we're going to be the other way.
Right. So for the 270 years,
humans are so dumb.
So dumb, right? For the 270 years that the English lived under the threat of Viking invasions, a period of 793 to 1066 AD, Englishmen were clean shaven as a cultural reaction to the bearded Viking invaders.
Valhalla!
During the Protestant Reformation, many Protestants grew out their beards in protest against Catholicism, where priests were typically clean shaven. So you can see this like just retaliation based on cultural variances as well. And whoever their enemy was, they had to be different, which I thought was fascinating. And now I'm going to like pay attention, like who is this person and who is their enemy? And I want to see what their faces look like. So what's even more fascinating is how great an impact whoever like high status individuals and their facial trends impacted literally everybody. So the Emperor Hadrian brought beards back to Rome in century AD. Like one person brought beards back. And the entire leadership class of the Roman Empire followed suit with beards at that point because Hadrian had a beard.
And it could be a religious expression as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Like Orthodox Jews, they have the little curl to pay us.
Yeah, and they like can't, something about like not cutting the corners of it or something. I read about that.
It has to be like a thing.
In the Middle Ages, Henry V was the first king of England to go clean shaven. And because he was such a great monarch, English society and 7 kings after that followed with beardlessness.
He probably had a strong chin though.
Probably. So there wasn't until another Henry help me with this Roman numeral. What is that?
The 8th.
Henry VIII.
Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am.
Yes, came along. He was very egotistical. He had a like murderous glory about him. And
I am.
And the beard made a comeback after 7 kings worth of beardlessness because he was so like he he was proud of.
Was he an influencer?
Yes, he distinguished himself different from his predecessors, and so he then adorned a beard. So, okay, not just facial hair that the choice of rulers made. You can see in the evolution of specific facial hair as well. So, the names of facial hair is also linked typically with influential figures as well. And changes of taste over time happen, often influencing high status men in competitive environments. But nothing moves the needle more than a good crisis. So the CDC with the facial hair things and the masks things.
So people have been shaving their beards because of COVID?
Yeah, like it made having a beard fall under scrutiny of like, maybe there's more germs or maybe communicable diseases could happen because of it.
I think there was some negative connotations with Duck Dynasty as well.
That
kind of swung the pendulum a little bit.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the cultural sway. Absolutely. So this isn't the first time that a disease outbreak impacted facial hair scrutiny. So in 1916, there was a piece in McClure's magazine where one doctor managed to blame facial hair for the spread of nearly every communicable disease known to humanity.
I think you can't get crabs in your beard.
There is no way of computing, this is a quote from it, there is no way of computing the number of bacteria and noxious germs that may lurk in the Amazonian jungles of a well-whiskered face. But their numbers must be legions. So, fuck. With more column inches, who knows what else could be tied into that beard. So the awareness of disease can impact people's awareness of their facial hair. Right. Okay. So, okay, let me go here to now.
I would not want.
I want to show you beards over time.
To be in close quarters with someone whose beard smelled like food.
Oh, agreed. Agreed. So you mentioned sideburns. Can I tell you where that came? Do you know where that word comes from?
No, I would love to know.
I'm so excited. Before the 1860s, facial hair was really viewed as radical. Like that was not okay. When we went into the Civil War, that's when it became a symbol of masculinity and power. And one of the popular style was called sideburns, which is that bushy beard with clean shaven chin. And it was actually influenced by Civil War General Ambrose Burnside. And they look at this. Look at him. Look at his sideburns.
See, now his are like connecting with the mustache.
This is the OG hair. This is where it all comes from.
It's like a nice W of sideburn up to the next mustache, sideburn.
Wings involved.
That's lovely.
Lovely.
But see, he's baldish.
He's baldish, but
so
look
if
at
he
his
didn't
face.
but that's what I mean. Like if his face was naked, it'd be too much skin.
But again, this didn't come up.
He would have looked fucked.
He would have fucked
without that. Imagine that.
But again, what does it take?
Bald baby face.
It takes war with another country who may not be prominent in facial hair to then try to demonstrate authority and power. Okay, all right. Here's the next one.
Okay.
1860s. The chin curtain or the chin strap coming in with Lincoln.
Wow, look how crooked the bottom of his face is. I never noticed that.
So that's considered the chin curtain. It was for those who weren't into the sideburn look, and this was kind of the alternative, whereas the clean shave next to the clean shaven mustache.
Yeah, but look how scraggly actually his beard kind of is. That is not a clean.
But this is what's interesting beard. Is like our concept of clean beards is now like it
has to be razor sharp
era of like 2015.
I mean, the tools are probably different. He probably had to like hone that with an axe or something. He didn't
get pubes plucked into his face. That didn't happen. Okay, here's the next one. 1890, full beards came into play.
I don't like that where you can't see their mouth.
Where the mustache like hangs kind of down.
Like you cannot even see his mouth.
Yes.
That is a mustache curtain. So I am not into that.
So the whole thing is that it does look more unkempt.
Like how do you kiss that face?
You
gotta like burrow in there with your lips.
You gotta dig in.
No, thank you.
Dig in and get
Mr. Whoever that is. President.
Rutherford.
Sorry.
Hayes. Can I just tell you
Sorry, President.
Okay, can I tell you that
Rutherford.
I had a project, this is bringing back memories in elementary school, where I had to do a presentation, and my president,
Rutherford?
I was assigned President Rutherford B. Hayes, and my dad helped me make the best
Did you
puppet.
talk about that mustache?
The best puppet. He had that full mustache, and my dad
Do you
did
still have it?
probably 90% of the work. I hope it exists somewhere in my dad's garage.
I hope so too.
It was the best project I've ever seen, and my dad seriously helped me way more than any parent should to get full credit. Love you, Dad. Okay. Then we have early 1900s, the handlebar mustache. The mustache.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan personally, but whatever. So,
but see, like
this was started
that's
in Europe
a mustache
during
you
World War
have
I.
That you don't have any of the others going on.
Clear. Yeah.
I have difficulty categorizing it when there's also the beard.
So this is President William Howard Taft, who made the handlebar mustache popular in the U.S. because he curled up the ends intentionally. So that's what that is.
They use a wax.
Wax. Yes. The 1920s, we get into mustache. And this is like Charles Lofton. Is that how you say his last name? Wore this, and
it's a fine mustache.
It's kind of that pencil mustache look.
Yes.
Yeah, in the 1920s. Okay. Then we get in the 1930s with the toothbrush mustache, which leads to a photo of Adolf Hitler.
No.
So this was actually very popular in that time, and then faded away, obviously, because of the connotation with Hitler. But in Europe, especially, that was actually very popular.
Interestingly, Charlie Chaplin did that with face paint.
Yes, and even Walt Disney had that mustache for a while. It was a characteristic of class at the time. It was supposed to it's supposed to not signify and not dignify. Signify class. All right.
Those other words.
Dignify and stignify.
Oh my gosh. Yes, Clark Gable.
1940s is
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Frankly, my dear came into play.
The epitome of intimate aggression.
The eyebrows too, right? Good use of eyebrows. So the thinner look was used during the 1940s.
When no, never mind.
Okay. Do you want to give a confession?
No, I was going to share a story about one of my children, but I decided I probably shouldn't.
I'm going to help your children say no. So the 1950s is when the goatee took a scene.
Yes.
So most men were clean shaven, but facial hair was flourishing. And after the Renaissance in the 50s, facial hair as the goatee started coming around the mouth. Right
so to be a goatee, you're around the mouth. There's no connection to the head hair.
No, there's a solid blank around. Nothing's there. 1970s, the horseshoe mustache, brought to you.
Gross.
I am not a fan of the horseshoe mustache.
No, not at all.
So, things from like Metallica, frontman James Hetfield, Guns N' Roses. Axl Rose had
When did he?
It's also known as the porn stash. Yes, he did.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
In the 70s. It's also in many biker groups. Popped up.
Axl Rose was not in the 70s. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, whatever. This is when
Guns N' Roses. Do you even know who Axl Rose is? Oh my
personally,
God, you don't even know.
Did I write about him in my journal? No. Do I like their music? Not really.
Okay, well, I had a time where I did like some GNR songs. It was definitely not in the 80s. It was definitely in the 90s.
From a place of personal.
Sweet Child of Mine at one point was like one of my favorite songs.
I'm looking it up. Guns and
Roses.
I just typed in
just to look it up.
The word guns and
everybody
no,
is head shaking with me right now.
Axl Rose in the 70s. This is what I want to know. Here we go. Does he have a handlebar? He looks like a preteen.
Yeah, because they weren't a 70s band.
Why? Okay.
Insider magazine. This is 80s stuff.
Maybe though. Hold on. Axl Rose. I'm going to find this. Axl Rose porn stash. I'm sure I'll find something.
That's all 80s.
I'm not saying the era is right anymore. I'm just saying there has to be a photo. I'm not finding one.
I know, because it didn't
Wait,
exist.
is that it right there? Is that him? I don't know.
Yeah, but that's probably in the 80s.
I get that. I'm just saying it might not be fully wrong. It's partially wrong. 1980s, we have the chevron mustache.
Tom Selleck, Magnum P.I.
Just that thick and full, dipped on the upper lip.
One of my favorite high school memories is going home after school, making some top ramen, setting up my TV tray, and watching Magnum P.I.
I love that this was like your experience.
No, these were like some good times. It was like that time after school before like my mom came home from work. It was my time.
Prime time.
My time. Prime time. Yes, I fucking loved Magnum P.I.
Okay. So
I'm sure it does not hold up. I have not looked, but
will you, for the fans, describe the beard or the facial hair?
The mustache.
Yes. And that's it. Okay. Just the mustache, thick and full.
It's just the mustache. Yeah, it's like a broad broom kind of thing.
Early 2000s, we like the 5 o'clock shadow.
Okay, that's what I can get behind.
Okay, I like a 5 o'clock shadow as well. So here's Brad Pitt with the stubbles, and
you can't
George Clooney too is another one.
Hate Brad Pitt.
No, I like the kind of messy look for some reason.
I've tried, but he's a damn good actor.
He's not easily reached. Is that what you're saying?
Well, like you want to discount him because he's good looking, but
I don't.
You can't.
I don't want.
Well, I've tried.
Is that a new one?
Yeah.
Great. Pour me up.
Set you up.
Okay. So today are the lumber sexuals, is what the beard is called.
What?
Lumber sexuals. It's the lumberman look, but a well-trimmed lumberman look. So they put Prince Harry in this category, Chris Hemsworth. It's like a very well-tailored full beard.
Hemsworth, though, is not a human being, just TBH. Just to put that out there. Yeah. I don't think we can compare anything to Chris Hemsworth.
All three of these have tasted very different. So
I told you, it's
very sweet.
A sake sampler.
So Prince Harry kept his beard for the royal wedding, which is unusual.
Oh, they usually shave down.
Yeah, and I think that's again kind of that cultural piece and like the breaking of the cultural cycle. Like, what's to come now of someone influential?
Is he kind of a royal rebel?
Yes. Okay. So
yes.
Okay. I'm still going, believe it or not. There was a lot about facial hair.
I still have a lot more to talk about, so let's go.
Great. Here we go. We just opened our third sake bottle. Okay.
Tiny bottles, people.
Tiny bottles.
They're tiny.
Shared between two. And they're like an individual one. So we've only
I don't want people to like think we're like talking about a giant like bottle. These are tiny.
If people are new listeners, they're either going to love us for it or they're going to leave us for it. And we're
love us or leave us.
Yeah, that's our motto. Love us or leave us. Can we have stickers that say that?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to show how far back this goes. So 30,000 BC, there's ancient cave paintings that depict men without beards and suggest that people shaved or removed unwanted hair with clamshells, which were used like tweezers or with blades made of flint. Right?
Like, I've heard the clamshell shaving thing. I just can't picture.
Dude, it was a thing.
How hard you would have to dig at your face.
Okay, but I have to say,
to remove hair with a fucking clamshell.
I read a whole article about how like scared men were of straight razors, and that's kind of like how barbershops formed.
So you would rather use a clamshell?
Well, this was pre all of that. This was like cave painting.
No, straight razor I get.
Okay, but this, I think you bring up a good point.
I mean, like, you're like either gonna get a shave or get your throat slit. You don't know.
I did not
crapshoot.
I did not think that shaving would have gone back this far, because to me it's such a like, I don't know, like a, what's the word?
Modern?
No. Shallow sword. It's such a shallow thing to do, in my opinion. Like, it serves no purpose. So why? So it's shocking to me that it happened this far back, which means that there probably, like they're saying, is more to it. So,
well, if you don't shave in some way, it's just going to go on forever. I mean, from a hunter perspective, if you're out hunting,
I mean, does the crotch hair go forever?
You can't have a 3-foot beard out there necessarily.
I
don't think your crotch hair goes long forever.
Do we know that? Do we know that from science?
No, but I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
There's probably a Guinness World
Get ready for the fall.
For longest crotch hair.
Naomi's going to do it. Okay. In 3000 BC, copper razors arrived in India and Egypt. So, like, we know it's a thing. And then 3000 to 332 BC, ancient Egyptian nobles started shaving their heads and bodies because they valued hairlessness. And remember, though, that, like, back then, lice was a big challenge. So staying clean.
I talked about that. You can get pubic lice in your beard.
Yes, that's true. Men and sometimes women of noble birth wore artificial beards as sign of divinity as well.
And you could also wear an artificial crotch beard.
Great.
Which is called a merkin.
I love it. And the god Osiris wore a beard as well. And wigs were also common to protect from the head from sun. So, like, it often was tied to divinity, power, authority. And then 2900 to 500 BC, Mesopotamian rulers and elites wore beards, which are signs of strength, masculinity. 1500 to 1200 BC, Scandinavian burial mounds contained elaborate bronze razors with handle shapes like the head of horses. Very elaborate. Again, this was just like shocking to me because I thought this was such a 20th century. I mean, I know it happened before then, but, like, I don't know. It seems so shallow. It seems so surface. I don't understand it.
Well, it's your face, and your face has utmost importance.
I mean, that makes sense, but I didn't think about it that deeply prior to
I mean, if people didn't shave.
Right.
It would just run wild.
So 800 to 600 AD, the ancient Greeks were very proud of beards. The ability to grow a full beard at the time was a sign of high status and wisdom, with many Greek men wishing to emulate the gods of Zeus and Hercules.
Yeah.
Oh, Heracles. Both were shown to have huge beards, and Greeks only cut their beards during times of mourning, which I thought was interesting. 400 BC, ancient Romans reacted against the beards of the Greeks, like I mentioned, and clipped it completely. And the 4th century AD, Ammianus Marcellinus, a Roman soldier, wrote, "Do you suppose that your beard creates brains? Take my advice and shave it off at once, for that beard is a creator of lice, not brains." Oh, ancient.
There's some chemicals that can help with that.
400 to 300 BC, Alexander the Great was clean shaven and encouraged his soldiers to shave before battle, as beards could be grabbed by enemies in hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, if it's excessively long, it's going to get in the way.
Like, if you have if you do something with your hair where it can be grabbed easily, like, I remember you talking about that, or like jewelry, any of that stuff. Battle. Think about battle. 300 BC, young Roman men celebrated their first shave in parties with gifts symbolizing the transition to adulthood. And Roman men either went to the barber at the start of their day or had a live-in servant help them shave. And Romans let their beards grow when in mourning. So opposite. Julius Caesar in 50 BC plucked out his own beard hairs, and many Roman men followed. Ow. That's like...
One by one.
Imagine how long that would take, but how much time? What else are you doing?
Really? Well, and that's not electrolysis. It's going to grow right back.
Right. Silly. So 793, just kidding. 100 AD, Roman Empire Hadrian revived the growing beards throughout Rome because he wished to hide the blemishes on his skin, like you mentioned. So Romans' attitudes towards beard would kind of go in and out throughout history. The older men equated beards with wisdom, and younger men thought the sight of a man with a full beard looked old and unkempt. So it's like when you're young, you hate it, and when you're old, you like it.
I get that.
I get that too. 793 AD to 1066 AD, with the Vikings invading Britain, they depicted the Vikings as unruly in manner and looking with unkempt, But this isn't actually true. Their trend actually became beardless during that time. So they were bearded and then went beardless. So they too went through a period of beard and beardless. You get another drink for that, I know. Okay. Middle Ages, beards went in and out of fashion depending on habits. So English kings, we talk about them going in and out. And the Protestants, we talked about them. The French barber in 1769, Jean-Jacques Perret, published The Art of Learning to Shave Oneself. The Perret razor,
leave it to the French, who we love,
was invented as a safety measure with a wooden guard to hold the razor blade in place to prevent deep cuts. So like now we're getting safety measures in 1769 by the French. It's amazing. 1789 to 1861, the first 15th U.S. president were beardless. 1800, straight steel razors were popular now. Men had to rub the blade against a leather strap.
I remember that.
From the 1800s.
I mean, I don't personally remember it, but I remember that from
yes,
fictional film.
Yes. The blades also needed to be like sharpened, often done by a barber. And then in 1861 and 1913, Abraham Lincoln advised to grow a beard by a little girl, told him that, which I didn't know. Every president then up to William Howard Taft wore facial hair, except Andrew Johnson, who was impeached. So let's just keep that in mind. And William McKinney, who was assassinated. So it doesn't really count. Beards were
sorry, William McKinney.
Sorry, were required. Beards were required to be carefully maintained during the whole Victorian era. And in 1895, King Gillette invented and began to sell disposable.
Gillette.
Yes, they began to sell disposable razors with the blade, basically like, the honing and leather strap wasn't needed anymore. Okay, 1913 to present, all presidents have been clean shaven since William Howard Taft. Interesting. I wonder if that'll change. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, beards have become a trend. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I don't see it changing in the near future.
Why?
Just because it's such a precedent right now.
So they want to be the offset of the norm. They want to be the rare guppy spots.
I don't think that's going to get elected right now.
So in 1913 to present, all presidents have been clean shaven. Already said that. 1928, Jacob Schick invented the electric razor. Yes. So that was in 1928. I wouldn't even have thought that was that long ago. In the 1930s, the U.S. military prohibited beards because they prevented a tight seal for gas masks. Helpful to know.
Yeah, I mean, the military plays into this a lot in present times. Religion plays into this.
Absolutely.
As far as having beards or not. It's kind of either end of the spectrums there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's hipster culture in the middle.
Yeah, what is that even? It's not religion, but like just as cutthroat.
Well, you can win prizes.
That's exciting. In 1990, J.N. Reid and Elizabeth Blunk's paper in Social Behavior and Personality found consistently more positive perceptions of social and physical attractiveness, personality, competency, and composure for men with facial hair. In the 1990s. Then 1999, in Police versus City of Newark, the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of two Muslim policemen who were objected to shaving their beards on religious grounds. So here we start to see law coming in to protect different variances of beardedness. And then currently another example, Amish men actually shave until they're married and then never again. Observant.
And their beards are like below the chin.
Below the chin. Yeah, super low.
It's a unique look.
Yeah. Observant Jewish men, according to this, they follow Leviticus 19:27. Is that right? Forbidding them to shave the corners of their beard. Most men decide whether or not to shave based on personal preference, but shaving's ease and convenience has drawn more people to be clean shaven. So I'm fascinated with facial hair now because I'm going to judge everybody.
Well, remember when I did the freak show topic? I talked about how it's become actually a sense of pride, like it's a growing movement with women who have beards.
Yes.
Instead of like having to hide it. Like
Which
more women are just being
Yes.
more like out and proud with it, which I love.
Which I totally think ties in with that, because really what I'm seeing, it is about cultural in and out, about
yeah, there's no right and wrong.
It's
people.
like the thumb up and down, but like, what does that really mean other than preference at the time?
Yeah.
So, you know,
but I do think facial hair is very important. As far as it's on your face, and everything about your face is like forward present when you're interacting with people,
and it gives some
it gives really a lot of messages about who you are, like, which can be good and bad. Which
I think like people who have acne or who don't have perfect bone structure, like a beard can give them a way to add status in a way that they wouldn't otherwise be able to, perhaps.
Just don't make it smell like soup.
And just know,
wash it.
Just know it's a yo-yo. You know, you may be in one day, you're going to be out the other. So get ready. And if someone tells you you should shave, believe them. You're no longer the guppy in the good bowl. And until next time.
What did I talk about? Oh, your cat may be out to get you, so beware.
Bye.
Keep one eye open.